You know, life has a way of weighing us down. We carry around baggage, regrets, mistakes, disappointments. It's like walking through life with a heavy anchor tied to your back. And you wonder why it's so hard to move forward. But let me tell you something, your past is not your prison. It's not the end of the story unless you let it be. You've got to make peace with it, thank it for the lessons, and leave it right where it belongs behind you. I'm not saying it's easy. Letting go takes courage, it takes faith, because we cling to the familiar even when it's painful. We hold on to guilt, shame, anger, and grief like there's some kind of twisted security blanket. But what you don't realize is that every time you hold on to the past, you're giving it power over your future. Here's the truth, you can't shine if you're still stuck in the shadows. You've got to step out of that darkness. Release the things you can't change. Forgive yourself for the times you fell short. Forgive others not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. And while you're at it, stop focusing on the doors that closed. You can't walk through a new one if you keep staring at the one that's shut. Life is about movement, about growth, about transformation. But transformation doesn't happen until you let go of what's holding you down. Every morning you wake up is a gift, a new chance to rewrite your story, a chance to get it right, and if you've been knocked down, so what? Get back up. Dust yourself off. You're not defined by how many times you fall. You're defined by how many times you rise. You see, there's a light inside of you, a spark that was put there for a reason. It's your job to protect that light, nurture it, and let it shine. But here's the thing, you can't shine while you're still carrying the weight of yesterday. That light, it's fueled by hope, by faith, by the belief that your best days are ahead of you, not behind you. So tonight I'm asking you to make a choice to let go, to stop looking back and start looking forward, to stop blaming yourself or others for what didn't go right. Instead, focus on what can go right. Focus on what you can do, what you can build, and who you can become. Because when you let go of the past, something amazing happens. You find freedom, you find clarity, and you find the strength to shine brighter than you ever thought possible. Just remember this, you are not what happened to you. You are not your failures, your mistakes, or your heartbreaks. You are what you choose to become. So choose greatness. Choose light. Choose to shine. If the world is waiting for your brilliance, let go of the past and step into your power. Your past is a chapter in your story, but it's not the whole book. Too often, we allow ourselves to become prisoners of what has already happened. Mistakes, failures, and disappointments replay in our minds like a broken record, trapping us in a cycle of regret and self-doubt. But here's the truth, your past is not your identity, and it doesn't have to dictate your future. That's a stepping stone, not a destination. You're not bound by the choices you made yesterday or the circumstances that happened to you. The only thing holding you back is your attachment to what's already gone. Life is full of ups and downs, but it's also full of opportunities for growth. Everything you've been through, every triumph and every failure has shaped you, but it hasn't defined you. When you think about your past, it's easy to feel weighed down by all the things you wish you had done differently. Maybe it's a relationship that fell apart, a dream you let slip through your fingers, or a moment where you didn't show up as your best self. The pain of those moments can feel overwhelming, like chains you can't break free from. But holding on to that pain serves no purpose. You can't change what's already happened, but you can change the way you respond to it. You can choose to see those moments not as barriers, but as lessons. It's important to recognize that your past, no matter how painful, has value. It taught you things you might not have learned otherwise. Maybe it taught you resilience, showing you how to pick yourself up after a fall. Maybe it taught you empathy, helping you understand someone else's struggles. Or maybe it taught you to appreciate the present, because you know what it feels like to lose something precious. Every experience has a lesson hidden within it, but you can only find that lesson if you're willing to let go of the resentment and guilt tied to it. Letting go of the past doesn't mean forgetting it. It doesn't mean pretending it didn't happen or dismissing the feelings you experienced. It means refusing to let it control you. You can acknowledge what happened without allowing it to hold power over your decisions, your happiness, or your self-worth. Letting go is an act of liberation. It's a way of saying, I refuse to be defined by this anymore. I am more than my mistakes, more than my losses, more than my regrets. When you hold on to the past, you're living in a place that no longer exists. It's like trying to walk forward while staring behind you. You're bound to trip and fall. The past is gone, and no amount of overthinking or revisiting it will change that. What you can change is how you move forward. You have the ability to choose growth over stagnation, hope over despair, and action over rumination. That choice is always within your control, no matter how heavy your past feels. Often the hardest part of letting go is forgiving yourself. We are our harshest critics, replaying our mistakes and berating ourselves for not knowing better at the time. But think about this: if you were doing the best you could with the knowledge and tools you had back then, why hold yourself to an impossible standard? Growth means acknowledging that you're human, that you're going to stumble. And that's okay. Forgive yourself for the things you didn't know and for the ways you've fallen short. Every mistake you've made has brought you closer to the person you're becoming. Sometimes we also have to let go of the stories we tell ourselves about our past. Maybe you've labeled yourself as a failure because of one moment when things didn't go as planned. Maybe you've convinced yourself that you're unworthy of love because of a relationship that ended. But those stories are just that, stories. They're interpretations, not facts. And the beautiful thing about stories is that they can be rewritten. You have the power to change the narrative and choose one that empowers you instead of limiting you. Letting go of the past isn't about erasing it. It's about reclaiming your power. It's about realizing that the past is just a place you've been, not a place you have to stay. When you release the grip of yesterday, you make space for the possibilities of today and tomorrow. You allow yourself to step into the fullness of who you are meant to be, unburdened and unstoppable. It's not easy and it won't happen overnight, but it's worth it. Every small step you take away from the past brings you closer to freedom and closer to the person you're destined to become. Letting go is one of the hardest things you'll ever do in life because it demands more from you than holding on. Holding on, even when it hurts, feels safe. It feels familiar. If we clutch onto the things, people, and situations that have defined us, even when they no longer serve us, because letting go means stepping into the unknown. And the unknown is scary. It's unpredictable. But here's the truth, growth, healing, and freedom all exist on the other side of that fear. It takes courage to release what's weighing you down, because it's not just about saying goodbye, it's about trusting that what's ahead is better than what you're leaving behind. We often think of courage as something bold, loud, or dramatic. But the kind of courage it takes to let go is quiet and deeply personal. It's the courage to face your fears, to confront your pain, and to ask yourself the tough questions. Why am I still holding on to this? What am I afraid of losing? And most importantly, what am I afraid of finding if I let this go? These questions force you to look within, to peel back the layers of your emotions and uncover truths you might have been avoiding. That's not easy. It takes strength to be honest with yourself, to acknowledge the attachments and fears that have been keeping you stuck. Letting go often means stepping away from comfort. Even when that comfort is toxic, it's something you know. Whether it's a relationship that no longer brings you joy, a job that drains your energy, or an old belief that limits your potential, there's safety in what's familiar. To let go is to walk away from that safety net to take a leap into something uncertain. And that requires faith in yourself, faith in your ability to adapt, and faith in the idea that what's ahead will be worth the risk. It's not blind faith, though. It's a faith rooted in knowing that you are capable of rebuilding, of starting fresh, and of thriving in a way you never thought possible. Another reason letting go takes courage is because it often means letting go of control. We cling to the past because it gives us a sense of control over something that's already happened. We replay moments in our minds, wishing we could rewrite them or imagining how things might have been different if we had made another choice. But the reality is, no matter how much you replay it, the past is unchangeable. If letting go means surrendering that illusion of control and accepting things as they are. And that's hard. It's human nature to want to fix, to make sense of things, to tie them up in neat little bows. But life doesn't always work that way. Letting go is an act of surrender, a recognition that some things are simply beyond your control. One of the most challenging parts of letting go is the emotional vulnerability it requires. To let go of something, you have to allow yourself to feel the pain of losing it. You have to confront the grief, the sadness, and even the anger that comes with saying goodbye. You can't numb it or push it aside if you want to truly move forward. And feeling those emotions takes incredible bravery. It's easier to bury them, to distract yourself, or to pretend they don't exist. But real courage is found in allowing yourself to feel, knowing that those emotions won't break you. They're part of the process and they're necessary for healing. Sometimes letting go means letting go of the version of yourself that you once were. It means releasing the expectations you had for your life, the dreams that didn't pan out, or the person you thought you would become. That kind of letting go can feel like a loss of identity. It forces you to reimagine who you are and who you want to be. But it also creates space for something new. It opens the door for growth, for transformation, and for a future that's no longer tied to the constraints of your past. The truth is, letting go isn't a one-time act. It's a process. It's waking up every day and choosing to release the grip of the things that no longer serve you. It's choosing to put one foot in front of the other, even when the weight of your past tries to pull you back. It's choosing to believe in your own strength, even when doubt creeps in. And every time you make that choice, you build resilience. You prove to yourself that you are capable of overcoming, of moving forward, and of finding joy on the other side. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's moving forward in spite of it. Letting go is scary and it's messy, but it's also empowering. It's a declaration to yourself and to the world that you deserve better. Better than the pain, better than the resentment, better than the limiting beliefs that have kept you small. It's kept you small. It's a commitment to your own growth, to your own happiness, and to your own freedom. And that kind of courage, it's what transforms lives. And forgiveness is one of the most powerful yet challenging acts of humanity. It requires us to release the anger, resentment, and pain that someone else's actions may have caused us, even when we feel justified in holding on to them. Often we think of forgiveness as something we offer to others for their benefit, but the truth is forgiveness is more about liberating ourselves. It's about unburdening our hearts from the weight of the past and reclaiming the peace we deserve. Holding on to anger or resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. It doesn't work that way. The only person truly affected by holding on to those negative emotions is you. When someone hurts you, it's natural to feel pain, betrayal, or anger. These feelings are valid. They remind us that we're human, that we have boundaries, and that we have deeply. But when we allow those feelings to linger indefinitely, they begin to take root and grow. Resentment, bitterness, and rage can take hold, consuming our thoughts and impacting how we see the world. It's as if we're carrying a heavy weight on our shoulders, a weight that no one else can see, but that we feel every single day. And forgiveness is the act of putting that weight down. It doesn't mean the hurt didn't happen or that it wasn't wrong. It means you're no longer allowing it to control you. Forgiveness is not about forgetting. It's not about pretending the hurt didn't exist or excusing someone's actions. It's about accepting what happened and deciding that it will no longer define you. The pain you've experienced becomes a part of your story, but it doesn't have to be the defining chapter. Forgiveness allows you to acknowledge the past without being imprisoned by it. It's a way of taking your power back, of saying this no longer has control over my happiness, my peace, or my future. That's what makes forgiveness such a deeply personal act. It's about you, not the person who hurt you. One of the hardest aspects of forgiveness is that it requires vulnerability. To forgive, you have to face the pain head on. Instead of burying it or ignoring it, you have to acknowledge the ways in which you were hurt, which can be incredibly uncomfortable. But that discomfort is temporary, and it pales in comparison to the peace that comes from letting go. Holding on to resentment often feels like a form of protection, as though it shields you from being hurt again. But in reality, it only creates more pain. Forgiveness, on the other hand, opens the door to healing. It's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of incredible strength. Sometimes the person you need to forgive is yourself. We all make mistakes, say things we regret, and fall short of who we want to be. The weight of self-blame can be just as heavy, if not heavier, than the blame we place on others. Forgiving yourself is just as important as forgiving anyone else. It's a recognition that you're human, that you're learning, and that you're allowed to grow. When you forgive yourself, you give yourself permission to move forward instead of being stuck in the cycle of regret. You create space for self-compassion and self-love, which are essential for peace. Forgiveness doesn't always come quickly, nor should it. It's a process that takes time, patience, and effort. Sometimes the wounds run deep and it feels impossible to let go of the pain. But forgiveness doesn't have to happen all at once. It can be a gradual release, a series of small steps that lead you closer to freedom. The important thing is to commit to the process, to keep working toward that release, even when it feels difficult. Over time, the grip of anger and resentment will loosen and you'll find yourself feeling lighter, freer, and more at peace. Forgiveness is also an act of courage. It takes strength to let go of the story you've been holding on to about how things should have been. It takes bravery to confront your pain and choose peace over punishment. But the reward is worth it. When you forgive, you open yourself up to joy, to love, and to connection. You create space in your heart for the things that truly matter, instead of allowing it to be filled with negativity. And forgiveness doesn't mean you have to reconcile with the person who hurt you or invite them back into your life. It's about setting yourself free, not about fixing relationships that may not be healthy. As at its core, forgiveness is about peace. It's about choosing to prioritize your well-being over the desire for retribution. It's about recognizing that holding on to anger only keeps you tied to the pain, while letting go allows you to move forward. It's a gift you give to yourself, one that allows you to reclaim your power, your happiness, and your freedom. Forgiveness is not easy, but it is transformative. And when you find the strength to forgive, you'll discover a peace that no one can take away from you. Life is full of opportunities, but they're easy to miss when you're too focused on what's already gone. We often cling to the past mistakes, regrets, and even achievements as if they define the limits of what's possible for us. But the truth is, every moment is a chance to start again, to rewrite your story, and to reach for something new. Letting go of what no longer serves you isn't about forgetting, it's about making space for the future. New opportunities are always around the corner, but you have to be willing to look for them and open yourself up to their potential. Such opportunities don't always arrive in the way we expect. Sometimes they're disguised as challenges or detours. You may lose a job and feel as though your world has collapsed, but that loss could be the push you need to pursue a passion or career path you've always dreamed of. You may experience heartbreak and think you'll never recover, but that pain could be what leads you to discover your own strength and independence. The thing about opportunities is that they often come when we least expect them, and they require us to shift our mindset. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me, we need to start asking, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? Focusing on new opportunities means being present. It means refusing to dwell on closed doors and missed chances. The past cannot be changed, no matter how much time you spend analyzing it. What can be changed is how you choose to approach the present. Every day is a clean slate, a new chapter in the story you're writing. If you spend your time looking backward, you'll miss what's right in front of you. The world is constantly moving forward, and so should you. Opportunities are like seeds, they won't grow unless you nurture them with your attention and effort. This isn't to say that focusing on new opportunities is always easy. Change is uncomfortable, and stepping into the unknown can feel terrifying. But growth requires discomfort. Staying in your comfort zone might feel safe, but it also keeps you stuck. You can't move forward if you're too afraid to take risks. And let's be honest, every great achievement, every moment of joy, and every significant milestone in your life began with a leap of faith. Whether it was starting a new job, moving to a new city, or opening your heart to love again, you took a chance. You trusted in the possibility of something better, and that trust is what allowed you to grow. Sometimes focusing on new opportunities means shifting the way you see yourself. We often hold onto limiting beliefs about who we are and what we're capable of. Maybe you've convinced yourself that you're not good enough, smart enough, or talented enough to pursue your dreams. But those beliefs are just stories you've been telling yourself. They're not facts. When you focus on new opportunities, you begin to challenge those beliefs. You start to see yourself not as someone defined by past failures, but as someone full of potential and possibility. It's about recognizing that you have the power to create the life you want, no matter where you've been or what you've been through. And opportunities also require action. You can't sit back and wait for life to hand you what you want. You have to go out and seek it. That means taking risks, trying new things, and putting yourself in situations where growth is possible. It might mean learning a new skill, meeting new people, or stepping into a role that challenges you. It might mean saying yes to something you've always been afraid of, or saying no to something that's holding you back. Whatever it is, it requires effort and intention. Opportunities don't just happen, they're created. Another important aspect of focusing on new opportunities is the ability to embrace failure. Not every opportunity will work out the way you hope, and that's okay. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of the process. Every time you try and fall short, you're learning, you're building resilience, gaining experience, and getting one step closer to where you want to be. The people who achieve the most in life aren't the ones who never fail, they're the ones who never stop trying. They see every setback as a chance to grow, and they keep moving forward. Finally, focusing on new opportunities means cultivating gratitude. It's about recognizing the blessings in your life, no matter how small, and using that gratitude as fuel to pursue even greater things. Because when you approach life with an open heart and a positive mindset, opportunities have a way of finding you. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you have. And that shift creates space for abundance. New opportunities are everywhere if you're willing to look for them. They may not always come in the form you expect, and they may require effort, risk, and courage. But they are there, waiting for you to seize them. All it takes is the decision to stop looking back, to trust in your potential, and to take that first step forward. Your light is your responsibility. No one else can carry it for you, nurture it, or make it shine as brightly as it deserves to. It is your unique gift, your essence, and your power. Life has a way of throwing challenges at us, dimming that light, or making us question if it even exists. But the truth is, no matter what you've been through, your light is always there. It may flicker at times, but it never truly goes out. And it's up to you to protect it, to cultivate it, and to let it shine, not just for yourself, but for the world around you. We often look to others for validation or support to help us feel worthy or strong. While connection and encouragement from others are valuable, your inner light cannot depend on someone else. If you rely solely on external sources to fuel your spirit, you'll find yourself feeling empty when those sources aren't there. True strength and confidence come from within. It's about recognizing your own worth, regardless of the opinions or actions of others. Your light isn't tied to how people perceive you or what they think you should be. It's tied to who you are at your core. Taking responsibility for your light means embracing who you are, flaws and all. It's about understanding that you are a work in progress and that imperfection is part of being human. Too often, we let self-doubt and fear dim our light. We worry about not being good enough, smart enough, or capable enough, and that worry holds us back from stepping into our full potential. But the truth is, your light doesn't need to be perfect to shine. It simply needs to be authentic. When you accept yourself for who you truly are, you give yourself permission to shine unapologetically. It's also important to recognize that no one else is responsible for your happiness or your fulfillment. It's tempting to place that responsibility on others, on a partner, a friend, a mentor, but doing so is unfair to both them and yourself. Your happiness is something you create, not something you find in someone else. It's your job to discover what lights you up, what fuels your passions, and what gives your life meaning. When you take ownership of your happiness, you take ownership of your light. Protecting your light requires boundaries. There will always be people, situations, or environments that threaten to dim it. Negative energy, toxic relationships, and self-destructive habits can all take a toll on your inner glow. part of taking responsibility for your light is knowing when to say no, when to walk away, and when to prioritize your well-being. It's not about being selfish, it's about recognizing that you cannot pour from an empty cup. By protecting your light, you ensure that it can continue to shine brightly and inspire others. Taking responsibility for your light also means doing the work to keep it burning. This isn't a passive process. It requires effort, intention, and consistency. That might mean taking care of your mental and physical health, investing time in personal growth, or pursuing activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. It's about feeding your soul with what it needs to thrive, whether that's creativity, connection, learning, or simply rest. Just as a fire needs fuel to keep burning, your light needs care and attention to stay strong. There will be times when your light feels dim, and that's okay. Life is full of ups and downs, and it's natural to go through periods of struggle. The important thing is to remember that those moments don't define you. Your light is still there, even if it feels faint. In those times, you may need to dig deep to find strength you didn't know you had and to remind yourself of your resilience. You've overcome challenges before, and you can do it again. Trust in your ability to reignite your light, no matter how dark things may seem. Letting your light shine isn't just about benefiting yourself, it's about impacting those around you. When you embrace your light, you give others permission to do the same. Your courage, authenticity, and positivity have a ripple effect. They inspire others to look within themselves, to find their own light, and to let it shine just as brightly. In this way, taking responsibility for your light isn't just a personal act, it's a contribution to the world. It's how you make a difference, no matter how small or large that difference may seem. Your light is your responsibility because it's uniquely yours. No one else can live your life, walk your path, fulfill your purpose. That's your job, and it's a privilege. So embracing that responsibility means stepping into your power, trusting yourself, and believing that you have something valuable to offer. It's about showing up for yourself every day, even when it's hard, and committing to your own growth and happiness. Your light is a gift and the world needs it, but first you must nurture it, protect it, and let it shine. You define your future. No one else has the power to shape it the way you do. Life may throw obstacles in your path, people may try to influence your decisions, and circumstances might feel overwhelming at times, but at the core of it all, your future depends on the choices you make and the mindset you embrace. Every day, with every decision, you are writing the story of your life. The past may have shaped where you are today, but it doesn't determine where you go tomorrow. That is entirely up to you. One of the most liberating truths is that the future is unwritten. No matter what has happened in your past successes, failures, heartbreaks, or triumphs, it doesn't have to dictate what comes next. Too often, we let the past define us as if it's a fixed label we carry with us. But the reality is that you are not your past. You are a dynamic, evolving person capable of growth and transformation. Your future is like a blank canvas and you hold the brush. It doesn't matter if you've made mistakes, faced setbacks, or feel stuck right now. What matters is that you have the power to choose what happens next. Defining your future begins with a vision. You can't move forward without a sense of direction. Ask yourself, what do I want my life to look like? What kind of person do I want to be? These are not easy questions, and they may take time to answer. But the act of imagining your ideal future is a powerful first step. When you have a vision, you create a purpose, and with purpose comes motivation. Your vision becomes your compass, guiding you through the challenges and distractions that will inevitably come your way. But having a vision isn't enough. You need to take action. Dreams without action remain just that, dreams. To define your future, you have to make deliberate choices that align with the life you want to create. This means setting goals, both big and small, and working toward them consistently. It means showing up for yourself every day, even when it's difficult, even when progress feels slow. Success is rarely about grand gestures, it's about the small daily decisions that add up over time. It's about persistence, resilience, and the belief that your efforts will pay off. Of course, the path to your future won't always be smooth. There will be obstacles, failures, and moments of doubt, but these are not signs to give up their opportunities to grow. Every challenge you face teaches you something about yourself. It shows you your strength, your determination, and your capacity to adapt. When you view setbacks as stepping stones rather than roadblocks, you begin to see them for what they truly are: lessons. Each failure brings you closer to success because it equips you with the knowledge and experience you need to do better next time. Defining your future means embracing these challenges and using them to your advantage. Because one of the most important things to remember is that your future is yours and yours alone. It's easy to get caught up in the expectations of others, what your family thinks you should do, what society says is acceptable, or what your peers are pursuing. But at the end of the day, you are the one who has to live with your choices. Defining your future requires courage, the courage to follow your own path. Even when it's unconventional, even when it goes against what others expect. Your happiness and fulfillment depend on living authentically, on creating a future that reflects who you truly are, not who others want you to be. Your mindset also plays a crucial role in shaping your future. The way you think about yourself and your potential can either propel you forward or hold you back. If you believe you are capable, if you believe that growth is possible, you will act in ways that make that belief a reality. On the other hand, if you doubt yourself, if you tell yourself you're not good enough or that success is out of reach, those thoughts will become self-fulfilling. Defining your future means cultivating a mindset of possibility, optimism, and self-belief. It means choosing to see obstacles as temporary and opportunities as endless. Time is one of the most valuable resources you have, and how you use it will largely determine the shape of your future. Every moment offers a choice to invest in your growth, to take a step towards your goals, or to let that moment pass by unused. Defining your future requires intentionality. It means being mindful of how you spend your time and making sure that your actions align with your priorities. This doesn't mean you need to be perfect or productive every second of the day. It means recognizing that each day is an opportunity to move closer to the life you want. Ultimately, defining your future is about taking ownership of your life. It's about realizing that you are not a passive participant in your story, you are the author. You have the power to shape your narrative, to decide how you respond to challenges, and to choose the direction you want to go. It won't always be easy. And there will be moments when you feel uncertain or afraid, but the beauty of defining your future is that it's a process, not a destination. It's something you work on every day with every choice you make. And as long as you keep moving forward, as long as you keep believing in your ability to create a better tomorrow, the future will always be yours to define.